This video is about 3 weeks of my life when I couldn't sleep because I had the most excruciating pain in my hands, in both hands. Everything started in November of 2022. I remember I had just turned 50. I was in the middle of my journey to menopause and I had already experienced about maybe 40 severe symptoms. I have an earlier video on 45 of these symptoms. If you haven't already watched it, it's a good idea to do so because it'll give you some context to this video. So I woke up in the middle of the night and I found that the fingers on my right hand, except my little finger, were tingling, was numb, felt heavy, it was troubling with a little pain. It wasn't too bad, and I went back to sleep. And that continued for about a week. Okay, no problems. After a while, the pain got worse to the point whereby I wasn't getting too many hours of sleep. I remember at that point, that I had experienced something similar when I was in the third trimester of a particular pregnancy 20 years earlier. And then it had gotten better, right? And then it only came back maybe when my baby then was about 3 months. I remember going to the hospital then and I was told that it was because my posture wasn't good enough when I was breastfeeding, so I had to get a breastfeeding pillow and then I had to watch my posture. And so I was afraid that I might be pregnant at that time, and so I started looking out for my usual pregnancy symptoms. It was really scary. I kept thinking, what would I do if I truly was pregnant? I was in full-blown panic. With perimenopause alone, I was struggling to cope every day. To now add pregnancy on top of that, that was going to be too much. I was thinking, would I be able to go to work? Pregnancy for me usually has never been an issue. It's never really been a problem. It's been easy. But I definitely didn't want a baby at 50. At that time, my last child was 19 years old. I had no baby things in the house. I had just recovered my body back from perimenopause weight gain, and I was very happy with the results. I had lost the 6 kilograms I had gained. What would happen? My body would be ruined, and my self-esteem and my mental health would take a big hit. And then this channel, Sister's Keeper, was just 3 months at the time. And so I was thinking that if I get pregnant at that time, would I need to change the focus of my channel? How do you say perimenopause and pregnancy in the same sentence? Wow. Okay, yes, that is some people's story, but it's not my story, especially since I had already had all the children I wanted to have, It was going to be so hard. I was anguished. I was worried. What if this is pregnancy? At some point, I consoled myself that at least if I now shifted to pregnancy as my focus, for the entire 9 months, I would have videos to record every day talking about some pain or discomfort. I could just put on the camera, record it and cry. Even if I had a headache, my subscribers would know about it. I wouldn't have to start thinking about, what content you want to put out and all that. So I waited anxiously for the time of the month to come. And my cycle was still fairly regular at the time, so I didn't have long to wait. And luckily, my period showed up when it was due, and so I wasn't pregnant. Boy, was I relieved. You can't imagine pregnancy. Not long after, the left hand joined. So I woke up at night, massaging both hands, trying not to cry out so I wouldn't wake my husband. I couldn't sleep. My hand was hot. It was aching. It was numb. It was tingling like pins and needles. My hands always wanted to be raised up, and anytime I put them down, then they would start to hurt. I got no sleep at all. I was not normal during the day. I couldn't think straight. After some days of no sleep, I went to the hospital. I saw a young female doctor, and she prescribed some blood pressure medications and some pain relief. All the while I was talking, she was nodding as if, she sees this every day and told me that, I would feel better soon. Alas, because I have to say alas here, the next 5 days were even worse. I now knew how long the night really was. I spent the whole night roaming about the house like a security guard while everybody else slept. Now I'm thinking about it, I'm wondering why I didn't just put on the TV, and watch Netflix. But I guess I really wanted to sleep and the pain was so bad. So I would leave my room upstairs, come downstairs to sitting room, try to lie down. I would end up putting my hand down, my hands would hurt. I would go back upstairs, try and lie down again, my hands would hurt, I would wake up. I kept doing this repeatedly all through the night. I couldn't go to work anymore at some stage because I wasn't even coherent during the day. So I went back to the hospital and saw another young doctor, a male doctor this time, and he told me, the meds that the doctor gave me initially were wrong. He would give me something else that would make me feel better. So he prescribed something else and I went home relieved. This is the end of the matter. Nighttime came and it was even worse. At this time I hadn't slept in about 10 days. I was going crazy. I was tired. I was like a zombie. My body was heavy. In all this time I was still pushing myself to upload one short video every day and every week on all my social media channels. I just started at the time. It never really ceases to amaze me, what you can do when you are determined. So I called a doctor I know who is a neurologist, and she told me that I should try and see an orthopedic doctor. So I scheduled an appointment and saw an orthopedic surgeon. So he told me that I have carpal tunnel syndrome, and I was wondering what that was. And apparently carpal tunnel syndrome is when your median nerve is compressed and then it passes through the carpal tunnel, which is somewhere here at the base of your wrist. And the carpal tunnel is an opening in your wrist that is formed by your carpal bones at the bottom of the wrist and some ligaments. I'm not a doctor, I don't know. Anyway, all I know is that if it provides some sensory nerve or something to your thumb and your 3 fingers, and if it gets compressed or irritated, you're going to have some symptoms. So what are the symptoms of carpal tunnel syndrome? There's weakness, when gripping objects with one or both hands. I'm sure many of my sisters in perimenopause have experienced that. Pain or numbness in one or both hands. Then pins and needles in the fingers. There's a swelling feeling in the fingers, and then there's a burning or tingling in the fingers, especially the thumb and the index and middle fingers. I think only the little finger is spared. So I was asking the doctor, then that, is there any relationship between perimenopause and carpal tunnel syndrome? He didn't think so, but I have my own opinion. Anyway, he prescribed physiotherapy, wrist splints, powerful pain meds, muscle relaxants, and he told me I should stop exercising. And he said we'll have to have surgery if things didn't get better. The physiotherapy session was so uncomfortable, painful. I used to take a sweet or a lollipop, and I'm not a sweet person, into the physiotherapy session just so that I can go through it. Horrible. Then I would wear wrist splints, which I still wear to today. They're extremely uncomfortable. Sometimes it scratches my face. So I listened to the doctor when he said I should stop exercising. That was challenging, but I guess it was the biggest mistake of my life. Initially, I was happy. I've cut myself a break because exercising frequently, consistently can be quite hard. So I was like, okay, let me chill for a while. Biggest mistake ever. I gained the 6 kilograms back and I was out of shape. I was so upset with myself. I was like, girl, couldn't you think it through? How can the answer to a problem be to stop exercising? It's been 2 years since then, and I am still trying to lose the final 2 kilograms of the 6 kilograms. It has been difficult. It has been challenging. Perimenopause really messes with your head. If you know, you know. I'm not interested in the surgery option. I don't trust doctors anymore. That's the truth. And I keep thinking that maybe they'll make a mistake and cut something else. I don't know. But I don't want any additional trouble. I don't want wahala. Have you or somebody else had this surgery to widen your carpal tunnel? on one hand or two hands? If you have, let me know. As for carpal tunnel syndrome, I still wear my brace. I take herbs which help. The splints sometimes scratch at my face. I've now started wearing a pair of socks, one sock on each hand, and I'm managing myself. I have christened my splints Tina, Tina, because Tina stands for there is no alternative. There is no alternative to a good night's sleep unless I wear those wrist splints. I haven't seen it anywhere, but nobody can convince me that carpal tunnel syndrome is not a perimenopause symptom. Don't even bother to try. I'm living this life and I know what it is. If you have had a similar experience, at least you now know that you're not alone, you're not crazy, you're not dying, and it's not your village people, and it's most likely your hormones. You most likely have started your journey towards menopause and beyond. If you found this video helpful, please let me know in the comments. Take good care of yourself. Remember to be your sister's keeper. I'll see you soon.